Shattered. I'm Jason Horton.
I'm Rebecca Lieb.
And this is Ghost Town.
King Charles VI, ruler of France from 1380 to 1422, was known to be touched with a unique kind of madness. He dressed in special reinforced clothing and forbid courtiers to come close to him, for fear of shattering at their touch. The king would suffer from wild, destructive rages for the rest of his life, but his conviction that he was made of glass was the first and most unique case of a strange psychological condition that would crop up for centuries. Today on Ghost Town, the glass delusion. Though he was arguably the most high-profile case, King Charles was far from being alone in his staunch belief that he was made of glass. The, quote, glassmen, as they were called, appeared throughout Europe between the 15th and 17th centuries. In the literary and medical texts of the time, tales of people afflicted with glass bones, glass heads, glass arms, and glass hearts were fairly commonplace. According to a JSTOR daily piece by Amelia Soth, one man, according to one journal, was convinced his buttocks was made of glass, and that sitting down would smash it into flying shards. He was afraid to leave the house in case a glazier tried to melt him down into a window pane. According to researcher Gil Speak, two 16th century doctors, Alfonso Ponce de Santa Cruz, the physician to Philip II of Spain, and André de Laurence, physician to Henry IV of France, told the story of an unnamed royal who believed he was literally a glass vase. A History.com article about the glass delusion by historian Hadley Mears says, quote, "The royal spent much of his time lying on a bed of straw to protect himself. Fed up, the man's physician ordered that his bed of straw be set on fire, and that the door to the man's room be locked. When the man began to beat on the door begging for help, the doctor asked him why he wasn't shattering despite the violent movements. The ploy worked." According to PhD candidate Elena Fabietti, the royals said, quote, "Open, I am begging you, my friends and dearest servants. I don't think I am a glass vase, but just the most miserable of all men, especially if you will let this fire put an end to my life." At the time, people argued if this, quote, glass man issue should be dealt with medically or theologically, aka by priests, as this glass delusion, according to Soth, was, quote, a disease of the body or the soul. Let's take a break. To understand what would later be described as the glass delusion, it's important to have an understanding of what glass meant to people in the Middle Ages. Glass was a new kind of technology, a malleable substance that began as artists painted images of glass and glassy things, including bubbles and hourglasses, symbolizing the fragility of life on Earth. In Christianity, the shattered vessel is a common symbol for how delicate and limited the human body is. Edward Shorter, a historian of psychiatry from the University of Toronto, attributes the rise of the delusion in 17th century Europe to the novelty of glass, stating that, quote, "Throughout history, the inventive unconscious mind has pegged its delusions onto new materials and the technological advances of the age." But along with being a modern marvel, glass was also kind of magical in its own way to the medieval mind. You take sand and dust and heat and pressure, and it makes this kind of beautiful, translucent thing, something that would harden into whatever the mind could imagine. Given all of this, it doesn't feel like a huge leap for people to equate the properties of glass to their own bodies. In 1641, French philosopher René Descartes used the glass delusion as an example of an insane countercultural phenomenon in his book, Meditations on First Philosophy. In John Locke's publication, The Essay, when proposing his own models and scales of madness, he makes reference to the glass delusion. In the late 1800s, breaking gender norms in its own strange way, Princess Alexandra of Bavaria became a fellow glass man, believing that she had swallowed a glass piano as a child and was convinced that the object remained inside her body and that if she was too disturbed, the piano might shatter and kill her from the inside out. As hundreds of years passed, the glass delusion did not completely disappear. In 1922, Georgios Hatzianestius, a Greek military officer during the Greco-Turkish War, thought his legs were made of glass. He failed to respond to the great offensive that turned the war in the Turks' favor because he believed his bottom half would shatter if moved. For this, he was executed for high treason. Surveys of modern psychiatric institutions have revealed two specific and uncorroborated cases of the glass delusion around this time. One is in a Paris asylum, and another reported by a man named Andy Lamjin, a psychiatrist from the Netherlands, who said that he had a male patient suffering from the delusion. Though we don't hear about many people having the glass delusion today, psychologists have attributed to a kind of depression about oneself, a melancholia about both the mysteries and the order of the world. Though most of us don't fear we're made of glass, that's certainly a sentiment that many of us share, and perhaps struggle to shatter.